At the state banquet, I publicly requested to marry the crown prince/the heir. My two childhood friends sneered, "Ashley Sue is the one who has arranged marriage, you must be crazy to try and climb the social ladder." Ashley Sue also covered her face and wiped away tears. "I've never fought for anything, how can even my marriage be taken away?" My brother, who once doted on me, condemned me, saying that as a woman, I was shameless. The young general who swore he would marry me also dragged me up, cursing in a low voice for me to stop embarrassing myself. But when the limousine to welcome the bride stopped at the prince's residence, they were unexpectedly panicked. Everyone knows that the crown prince/the heir has a strange personality and specifically named the Sue family daughter to be his wife. How could you possibly handle such good fortune? David Sue frowned, walked to my side, and apologized to everyone. "My sister is drunk and talking nonsense, don't take it seriously." After he whispered to me, he respectfully said, "To your Majesty, please don't punish her, Your Majesty. She's always like this, speaking without thinking. When we get home, I'll teach her a lesson." Everyone chuckled upon hearing this. There were whispers and malicious glances. Those probing and mocking gazes were like thorns stabbing at me. I broke free from David Sue's restraint and knelt before the emperor with a thud. "Your Majesty, you asked me before if I wanted to be the crown prince/the heir's wife. Now I've thought about it, I want to be, and I want to be his officially wedded wife." As soon as these words came out, my two childhood friends rushed up. "Ashley Sue is the one who has arranged marriage, you must be crazy to try and climb the social ladder." David Sue slapped me in the face and publicly reprimanded me. "How can you be so shameless as a woman? You've completely disgraced the Sue family estate, Emily Sue. Not only do you need to apologize to Your Majesty, but you also need to apologize to Ashley Sue." Ethan Lynn scoffed coldly from the side, echoing, "Of course. It's one thing to be stupid usually, but how can you mess up such an important occasion? Are you just trying to get everyone's attention?" He yanked me up, glared at me fiercely, and cursed in a voice only we could hear, "Emily Sue, stop embarrassing yourself. I'm mortified. What doesn't belong to you can't be taken, no matter how hard you try." I tried my best to shake them off, but they held me down and forced me to kowtow to the emperor. Ashley Sue, the main character, stared at me in surprise from the side, covering her face and weeping. "I've never fought for anything, how can even my marriage be taken away? Sister, you could have discussed it with me. Isn't this just embarrassing me in public?" She murmured, looking at everyone meaningfully. "Besides, you want to be the officially wedded wife, so what does that make me, the one who the crown prince/the heir specifically asked to marry? A mistress?" Those who usually didn't get along with Ashley Sue also spoke up for her now. "This isn't just trying to climb the social ladder, this is simply shameless. Openly trying to be a homewrecker, truly a bastard/orphan." I immediately raised my eyes to look at her. She shuddered, then cursed even more fiercely, her eyes full of triumph. "Am I wrong? Who doesn't know that your mother died on the battlefield long ago? A woman had to lead troops into battle, she deserved to die. Does she think everyone is Joan of Arc? Like mother, like daughter." I recognized her. She was the daughter of the Prime Minister, and she often bullied the common people because of her powerful family. "Megan, please be kind with your words. Although my sister is determined to snatch my things, she doesn't have a mother's love to begin with," Ashley Sue gently interrupted her, looking pitiful. "Maybe she doesn't care about these things. My mother is of humble origin, but she treats my sister like her own daughter, it's just that my sister looks down on her." She only said half of it, then stopped. These words were left for everyone to speculate, and there was another round of whispers. Everyone knows that Aunt Lucy of the Sue family estate is gentle and virtuous, and treats the servants very well. But this Emily Sue relies on her status as the legitimate daughter and doesn't treat people as elders, it's too much. Ashley Sue was only recognized and brought back home later, and she suffered a lot outside. Her whole family feels sorry for her and is trying to make it up to her in every way possible. It's just that one person isn't happy about it. They pointed at me up and down, their contempt unconcealed. First of all, your mother climbed into your father's bed to get where she is. It's not something to be proud of. But you're proud of it and advertise how pitiful you are everywhere. I stared at Ashley Sue with amusement and spat. Do I need to list all the dirty tricks your mother pulled? Ashley Sue's eyes immediately turned red, and she pretended to run towards a pillar, crying that she didn't want to live anymore. Sister is humiliating me in public, isn't it just because she can't stand me? In that case, I might as well disappear. David Sue and Ethan Lynn immediately rushed over to stop her, throwing me heavily to the ground. Ashley Sue, you're confused. If you die, no one will be happy except her. The surrounding people also stood up one after another, wanting to stop this farce. Today is supposed to be a joyous day, but Emily Sue caused all this trouble. What are you up to? David Sue trembled with anger, turned his head sharply to look at me, and pushed me in front of Ashley Sue. Apologize to her. You almost killed her. I couldn't break free and sneered, what does it have to do with me if she wants to die? Could it be that I hit the nail on the head? I looked at the person in the center of the hall and raised my voice, Your Majesty, please issue a decree. Enough. David Sue grabbed my chin tightly. Haven't you caused enough trouble? Ashley Sue seemed frightened and hurried forward to pull him away, gently saying, Big brother, it's okay if sister knows she's wrong. I'm fine. Please sit down and don't disturb everyone's enjoyment. The emperor in the main seat finally spoke. He got up slowly and asked me in disbelief, Emily Sue, is what you said true? Why are you suddenly willing to marry Henry Shao? To the emperor, now in his 60s, had 9/10 of a mind to pass the throne to Henry Shao. And it just so happened that he specifically asked to marry the Sue family daughter. Ashley Sue had only been home for half a year, and everyone had already assumed that she was the real Sue family daughter. As for me, the legitimate daughter, I had long been forgotten. Before this, I had grown up being the center of attention. My brother David Sue treated me with tender affection and protected me for more than 10 years. When I was a child, I was mischievous and often climbed trees and walls. He didn't like me doing these dangerous things, but he couldn't bear to see me cry, so he had to follow behind me and take care of me carefully. Once, when I flipped down, my foot slipped and I was caught by a passing boy. His ears turned red, and he asked what kind of little dumpling I was. I smiled and said that I was a fairy, and naturally I had fallen from the sky. That boy was Ethan Lynn, and that's how we met. My brother and him, one skilled in literature and the other in martial arts, cultivated me in every way. I was not proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, but I was talented in writing and skilled in martial arts. My brother joked that I wouldn't be able to marry. Ethan Lynn said that he would marry me. But my brother retorted, I can't bear to let Emily Sue marry. Ethan Lynn gained the upper hand again and said triumphantly, a girl can't be kept at home forever. Such days were warm and lively until Ashley Sue arrived. Ashley Sue was gentle and weak, completely different from me. She stood in front of my father with a flushed face and called David Sue brother. Aunt Lucy and she entered my house at the same time. At first, David Sue was also dissatisfied and only made a show of politeness, treating them politely and distantly. Ethan Lynn was also indignant when he learned that I had an extra sister, and he sneered at Ashley Sue's overtures. Aunt Lucy was nice to me in every way, but she was only deceiving my father. I felt that she was not a good person, and I accidentally heard her scolding me behind my back. That damned Emily Sue, she's so bad at dealing with people that she'll be criticized sooner or later. You should take the opportunity to build a good relationship with the servants. Rumors are frightening, and you might be able to reverse the situation. Ashley Sue treated the servants like family and always had a smiling face. But I saw her secretly putting medicine in their food. When I exposed her in person, Ashley Sue cried, I'm using my own money to add meat to their meals. How can you slander me like this, sister? Do any of them look like they have problems? I'll eat it for you to see if you don't believe me. Coincidentally, my brother and Ethan Lynn returned home at this time. When they saw this situation, they rushed forward. Just when I thought they would speak up for me, David Sue angrily called out my full name, Emily Sue. Stop making trouble for no reason. Ashley Sue is also your sister. As a sister, you should protect her instead of finding fault with her everywhere. If you continue like this, you'll be grounded. I was stunned and looked over in disbelief. Seeing that he was only comforting Ashley Sue, I painfully looked at Ethan Lynn, but he just watched coldly. I didn't know you were so jealous. I'm so disappointed. 3 heaven and earth, all in one day. David Sue treated this Ashley Sue, whose origins were unknown, like his own sister, and his doting far exceeded that of me. He would take Ashley Sue to poetry gatherings, introduce her to his friends, and announce to everyone that she was his sister. Ashley Sue boldly went to the military camp to find Ethan Lynn, and his brothers teased him, "Is this the future sister-in-law?" Ethan Lynn blushed and told them not to talk nonsense, but he rode the same horse as Ashley Sue, galloping across the wilderness. Everyone in Capital City, fictional U.S. capital, knew that the Sue family estate had a daughter who had been lost for many years. She was beautiful, kind-hearted, and generous. Ashley Sue would give money to beggars, coax crying children, and face everyone with a smile. Everyone said she was like a little son. Only I knew that Aunt Lucy had taught her all this. Ashley Sue, remember, no one dislikes the image of a good person. Even if you hate it behind your back, you have to put on a good show. I would never forget her smug expression. Do you know how Emily Sue's mother died? It's because I pretended to be weak and pitiful, which moved your father's heart. He was originally going to save that bitch, but I held him back. When Lee Sue died, your father and I were getting hot and heavy. Aunt Lucy giggled, and I hated her to the core. It was truly pathetic that I only learned my mother's name from the mouth of the person who killed her. I had no memory of my mother. She died in battle. Some said she was a heroine, and some said she overestimated herself. But in my heart, she was a hero. But my father never mentioned this matter. When I asked my brother, he would only pat my head, "Let the dead rest in peace, let's not talk about mother anymore." That day I realized that it was because my father had done something wrong. Because of his guilt, he didn't even dare to mention my mother at home, didn't dare to celebrate her death anniversary, he didn't even allow a painting to exist. I often thought about my mother's appearance and drew her on paper. Although I had no talent, the best picture I drew was of my mother's back. In my memory, she wore a red dress brighter than fire, and she danced with a sword under the tree for me to watch. But after my father found out, he tore it to shreds and threw it into the fire. If I see you drawing this kind of unlucky thing again, I'll confiscate all your drawing tools. Perhaps it wasn't that I wasn't good at calligraphy and painting, but that I had been stifled early on. My brother comforted me, saying that perhaps my father was just too sad and lost his temper and scolded me. But now, my mother was being insulted like this, and he didn't say a word. "For your Majesty, I've thought it over." I bowed seriously to the emperor, but David Sue sneered from the side, "With her personality, she wouldn't be suitable for life in the inner palace." "Your Majesty, don't listen to her nonsense. My sister's marriage has already been arranged at home." He forcibly pulled me back to my seat, and the emperor looked somewhat regretful. I wanted to say something, but Ethan Lynn and he held my hands down at the same time. "Emily Sue, if you want to make trouble, do it at home." David Sue forcibly stuffed a pastries into my mouth. "I know you're jealous of Ashley Sue marrying into the East Wing/the heir's residence. Who doesn't know that Henry Shao will be the emperor in the future? If you want to climb the social ladder, you have to look at the person. Aren't you obviously trying to steal Ashley Sue's man?" He thought he had seen through me and said earnestly, "Be obedient." Ethan Lynn also poured a glass of whiskey, looking arrogantly at the stage. "That's right, Ashley Sue is knowledgeable and reasonable, and more suitable for the crown prince/the heir. As for you, Just stay at home and don't cause trouble everywhere. If it weren't for us protecting you tonight, you might have been beheaded." In front of us, Ashley Sue danced gracefully, her eyebrows curved. I wanted to explain to the emperor that I didn't have a marriage contract. Sometimes it's not a good thing when the emperor is too understanding. Just as I was about to move, David Sue held me down. He frowned and said coldly, "Just be obedient." I protested, "Where did I get a marriage contract?" "I want to explain it to your majesty." He suddenly pulled me into his arms. "What if you explain it clearly? You can't marry the crown prince / the heir." I struggled to push him away and even slapped him. "Emily Sue, you really don't know what's good for you." During the pushing and shoving, David Sue lost his patience and picked up the hard liquor / whiskey on the table and poured it into my mouth. "Behave yourself!" My pupils shrank, and I struggled violently to break free from his restraint. Ethan Lynn next to him didn't understand what was going on and was just about to ask when David Sue signaled to him with his eyes, "She wants to ruin Ashley Sue's marriage, hold her down." That's how they forced me to drink a lot of whiskey, and my face felt like it was on fire. With great difficulty, I finally caught my breath and smashed the whiskey pot at David Sue, my eyes red. "Are you crazy? I can't drink." I recognized the royal physician beside the emperor and rushed forward. "Please give me medicine. I break out in rashes when I drink, and a little more could kill me." When the emperor heard this, he immediately stood up and said anxiously, "Quick, get the medicine." Dr. Smith hurriedly rummaged through his medicine box. Just as a bottle of medicine was handed over, David Sue knocked it to the ground, shattering it. "She's not that fragile, she's just being dramatic." He explained to the emperor, "It's just some fruit wine, my sister likes to drink it, she's making a fuss, your majesty, please don't mind it." I looked at David Sue with red eyes, my voice hoarse, "Brother." His body stiffened, and there was even some dodging in his eyes. "That's hard liquor / whiskey, I can't even touch a drop." My heart ached, and I smiled bitterly. "What about fruit wine? You used to not allow me to drink even half a sip, didn't you?" David Sue was stunned and hurriedly took a big gulp of whiskey, choking until his nose turned red. He visibly panicked, but I didn't see it. I staggered and fell to the ground, revealing my arms covered in red rashes. Dr. Smith hurriedly fed me medicine, muttering, "Fortunately, there's a backup. Miss Sue, you're lucky, you must not fall asleep." I heard him clearly and curved my eyes at him. "Thank you." Seeing that I was ignoring him, David Sue, who had just taken a step forward, turned his head away. "Isn't she fine? You can try to get our attention, but don't do it this way." "Enough." The emperor was also angered and flicked his sleeves. Everyone knelt down. "She's your sister, don't you know she can't drink? Let's drop this matter, you can all go back now." After he finished speaking, he looked at me worriedly. "Miss Sue, about what you said." Seeing me nod, he beamed. "Don't worry, I'll mention it to Hen." On the way home, I was arranged to ride in the same limousine as Ashley Sue. "Sister, you were really out of line today." She twisted her handkerchief with both hands, biting her lower lip. "It could have been a capital crime. Even if you don't think about me, you have to think about Big Brother. He's in a rising period of his career." I interrupted her coldly. "It's not your place to tell me what to do. Your Majesty didn't say anything, so what are you barking about?" Ashley Sue's eyes immediately welled up with tears, and she choked. I'm just worried about you. Why do you always twist my good intentions? Is it just because I'm the one who has arranged marriage, not you?" I couldn't stand to see a girl cry, because the sight of tears streaming down her face was truly pitiful. But now, Ashley Sue's appearance only made me disgusted. How could there be such a pretentious and hypocritical person in the world? I impatiently yelled at her. He only said he wanted a Sioux family daughter. Did he specifically name you? It may not be your wishful thinking. Why didn't I realize you were so shameless before? Emily Sue. You're bullying Ashley Sue again when we're not around. Ethan Lynn came in from outside, sat next to me, and looked at Ashley Sue with tenderness. It's okay, I'm here. Ashley Sue nodded gratefully, as if I were some kind of life-threatening demon. I didn't want to pay attention to them and just looked away. What happened today has caused the Sue family estate to lose face. Go back and apologize, and David Sue and your father will definitely not punish you. Ethan Lynn pursed his lips and handed me a bottle of medicine. I didn't know you couldn't drink. I apologize. I frowned and said lightly, I don't need your fake kindness. He was a little annoyed and shoved the medicine into my hand angrily. Don't take your anger out on me. David Sue never told me about this. If I had known, if I had. He glanced at my still red wrists and let go of me. I would have definitely stopped him. I didn't respond, but Ashley Sue chimed in from the side, none of you did it on purpose. I believe sister isn't really angry either. She'll be fine once she thinks it over in a few days. Ethan Lynn hummed in agreement and looked at me. Don't make any more trouble these days. In a few days, it'll be Ashley Sue's wedding day. Once she leaves this house, no one will be able to threaten your position as the legitimate daughter. So in their hearts, I was such a jealous woman? I just smiled, my eyes full of mockery. Could feigned concern make up for the harm they had done to me? Ethan Lynn, in my heart, you are no longer the spirited young general you once were. Now, like David Sue, you are a demon who stabs me in the back at any time. As soon as I returned home, my father rushed forward angrily, raising his hand to hit me. But the expected slap didn't land. Ashley Sue blocked it for me. She pleaded softly with my father, Father, everything today was caused by me. Sister is also excusable. If you've vented your anger, please don't punish her anymore. My father was stunned and immediately comforted Ashley Sue with heartache, then sent someone to bring ointment and personally apply it for her. Why are you so good to her? It's all like feeding a dog. My father shook his head, casting a glare at me. How could I have a daughter like you who makes our Sue family estate lose all face? I lowered my head and didn't say a word. I wouldn't waste my breath on them, I just needed time to gather my strength. Aunt Lucy appeared at just the right time. With everything about to be settled, she came out smiling and added fuel to the fire. I heard your majesty didn't give you a reply. Don't be sad. Stepmother has picked out a lot of eligible bachelors for you. I was reluctant to let Ashley Sue know before, but now that she's about to marry into the East Wing/the heir's residence, this list can still be used. As she spoke, she took my hand with a loving expression. I'll have someone send the portraits to your room tonight. If you like any of them, stepmother will help you plan it. How about that? I stared at her and smiled. Then I'll thank stepmother. Henry Shao, if you really want to marry me, you should have come sooner. With the Sue family estate's virtue, they would definitely confine me. My letter has already been sent out, now I can only wait for his reply. 7 1 day, 2 days. 3, 4 days. Now it was already the 5th day. I was practicing calligraphy and swordsmanship in the courtyard, undisturbed. The whole family was ignoring me and busy picking out clothes for Ashley Sue. I couldn't help but find it funny. If Henry Shao really wanted to marry her personally, how could he let them prepare these things? But he still hasn't sent any news. I could only wait, and I had the patience to wait. But some people were even more restless than me and came to provoke me again and again. So it seems that you really were a joke that day. Your Majesty hasn't made any moves, and you should be grateful for his tolerance. Ashley Sue flaunted the hairpin that David Sue had bought for her in front of me, looking at me pitifully. It's a pity you didn't lose your head. She suddenly held the hairpin against my neck. You're really brave, but this kind of risky behavior is laughable. I curved my eyes. Brother. The hairpin fell to the ground with a snap, and Ashley Sue's face immediately changed, crying as she turned her head back. Big brother, I just... She stopped, staring at me venomously. You tricked me? And I slowly picked up the hairpin, following her words. You wanted to slander me for taking your hairpin? With a snap, I broke the wooden hairpin in half. As you wish. She was dumbfounded, pointing at me. Emily Sue, are you crazy? This is my mother's most important thing. I didn't care. Didn't you say that big brother bought it for you? This kind of shabby thing, the wood is rough, David Sue wouldn't like it. Ashley Sue was furious and rushed towards me, but then she heard someone calling her from outside. Ashley Sue! The crown prince/the heir has come to propose marriage. She snorted coldly, glaring at me venomously, and smiled. You don't have many good days left. Ashley Sue tidied up her appearance, like a peacock showing off its feathers, and swayed her hips as she walked outside. The crown prince/the heir? I had to go see this good show. But Ashley Sue seemed to have noticed something and immediately ordered her maids to block me at the courtyard gate. Don't let her come out and ruin my marriage. 8. Where is Sue family daughter? Hurry up and let her out, our prince will be here soon. It was Craig, the head guard beside Henry Shaw. His voice was full of joy, with a smile, but it stopped abruptly. Where is Sue family daughter? Ashley Sue smiled shyly and bowed. Sir, that's me. Isn't it me that the prince specifically asked to marry? Craig frowned, a little impatiently. Which girl are you, daring to impersonate the master? Quickly let Sue family daughter out. Ashley Sue was stunned, and David Sue also rushed over anxiously, protecting her in front of him. This is Sue family daughter, but you don't even recognize her. Who are you, a fake? What, did Emily Sue ask you to put on a show? Nonsense. Our prince wants to marry Miss Emily Sue, and has absolutely nothing to do with this woman. Craig drew his sword with a whoosh, his tone fierce. Hand her over, otherwise when our prince arrives, it won't be so simple. Don't blame him when blood is shed. David Sue was silent for a long time, then laughed mockingly. You're not very good at acting as a con artist, such a big tone. The crown prince/the heir wants to marry the Sue family daughter, and that's Ashley Sue, no doubt about it. He pushed Ashley Sue forward. This is what the entire capital city, fictional U.S. capital, knows. You don't even know Ashley Sue, and you say you're not a liar. Craig felt a headache. How would he know who this was? He had only met Emily Sue, and this man was her brother. He had seemed gentle and polite when they met before, but why was he acting like he had no brains now? Can't say anything? If you don't leave, we'll report you to the authorities. David Sue snorted coldly. Emily Sue has gotten bolder, daring to collude with outsiders to deceive us. Ashley Sue was a little embarrassed, looking at the chests of gold and silver filling the courtyard, tentatively looking at Craig. These betrothal gifts. Craig waved his hand, telling people to continue carrying them in. It has nothing to do with you. Not only gold and silver and jewels were being carried in one after another, but also various rare objects. I leaned against the wall, recognizing the famous swords and sheet music, and couldn't help but curve my eyebrows. Leave the money, and take those broken copper and scrap iron away. Ashley Sue pouted. Although I don't know where sister got the money, it's also the Sue family's property. Craig was too lazy to pay attention and was about to break into the courtyard. You liar, aren't you leaving? David Sue stopped him, but Craig immediately knocked him to the ground. Just then, Ethan Lynn also rushed over and wrestled with Craig. I couldn't stand it anymore and shouted, Craig! He saw me at a glance, threw Ethan Lynn to the ground, and said respectfully, "Miss Sue. 9 You say you don't know each other, I see sister and him are very familiar." Ashley Sue covered her mouth in surprise. "You're actually having an affair with a strange man and putting on this show with us." Craig gave her a cold look. "Think before you speak, young lady, or you might lose your head." David Sue was unimpressed, finding it amusing. "What can you do besides talk big?" Craig choked. If the Sue family daughter hadn't been here, and if they weren't family, he wouldn't have even needed to report to His Highness, he could have taken their heads himself. "Since you two are so enamored with each other, why don't you both stay in the yard?" David Sue called out the servants, surrounding Craig, and said coldly, "Don't even think about disrupting Ashley Sue's arranged marriage." "You're all crazy," Craig said, feeling like his eyes had been opened. Everyone was at a standstill. Craig simply didn't want to see bloodshed, but they thought he was afraid. "Either leave the things behind, or don't let us see you again. Emily Sue has already arranged the marriage, so don't even dream about it." Ethan Lynn, looking at me on the wall, leaped up, trying to pull me down. "Let me go!" I stared intently at Ethan Lynn. "You're all the same, birds of a feather. I won't forgive you." His hand paused, and he lowered his eyes, murmuring something. He tied my wrists and carried me down from the roof. "I'll keep a good eye on her." Ethan Lynn clenched my hand tightly, his voice soft. Just then, an announcement came from outside, "The Crown Prince is here." The person who arrived was dressed in black, with fair skin, dark eyes, and a cold, melancholic expression. His gaze immediately fell on me. Before anyone could speak, he pulled me into his arms. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice hoarse, as he held me tightly. "I'm late." Everyone present was stunned. Ashley Sue softly reminded him, "Your Highness, I am the Sue family daughter, the one you are supposed to marry." Craig scoffed mercilessly, "A maid, daring to dream of becoming a phoenix on a branch? Our prince only has eyes for Emily Sue, other women shouldn't even try to get close." Tears welled up in Ashley Sue's eyes, and she pointed at Henry Shao, accusing him, "You're all in cahoots. Tell me. What are you up to, pretending to be the crown prince? You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all the time. The real crown prince will be here soon." Henry Shao raised his eyes coldly and slightly lifted his hand. I immediately helped him lower it. Craig paused. That was the prelude to his ordering an immediate execution, but I shook my head. No, this will only deepen everyone's misunderstanding of you." He hummed softly, "I don't care." Craig chuckled to himself, and I felt somewhat helpless. "Big brother, quickly call the police, I think they're imposters." David Sue, however, stood there, stunned, and said with a wry smile, "Your Highness, the one you're really going to marry is Emily Sue?" Henry Shao looked at him somberly. "I keep my word. 3 years ago, I saved Henry Shao from drowning. He was weak and had been framed. I went to save him, while Ethan Lynn went to chase the assassin. Henry Shao was like a wary hedgehog, bristling with thorns. I ignored his murderous gaze and helped him treat his wounds." He frowned. "Men and women are different." I pouted and tossed the medicine to him. "Then do it yourself." But his arm was injured, and in the end, he still needed my help. He stared at his wound, placed a hand on it, and pinched it tightly until blood seeped out. "Are you crazy?" I had never seen someone who didn't value their own life. To prevent him from moving again, I stared intently at him. By noon, I couldn't take it anymore, my stomach was growling. "I won't move, you go eat first." I took a step back and then another, running back to him. "What do you want to eat?" He lowered his eyes and thought. "Whiskey." I smacked him on the head. "Dream on." I repeatedly told him not to leave and brought back the golden goblet signature dishes when I returned. Seeing the empty room, I scolded him for being heartless. Your way of cursing is quite unique. I called him a good-looking firecracker. I suddenly turned around, and he looked at me calmly. I was just getting some air outside. How embarrassing. Just like that, I stayed with him for a few days, helping him heal his wounds. Meanwhile, Ethan Lin and David Sue took the assassin back to the police station but didn't come to find me. I was scolding them for being heartless too when the man said, I told them to stand guard outside. I was full of doubt, and he asked me, Emily Sue, are they important to you? My answer was yes. Who do you like? I choked and waved my hand. There's no romantic love. I saw him smile, and then David Sue and Ethan Lin were invited in. Greetings, Crown Prince. I was stunned, meeting his smiling gaze. Henry Shao, that's my name. Oh, that Crown Prince with a terrible reputation, yet favored by the Emperor. Remembering my outrageous behavior these past few days, would Henry Shao have me beheaded? I stole a glance at him, but he seemed to see through everything. Emily Sue, if they treat you badly, come find me, and I'll marry you, how about that? I was shocked, but fortunately, David Sue protected me, saying some polite words to decline. As he was leaving, Henry Shao leaned in close to me. My words are always valid. And so, when my good reputation was completely replaced by Ashley Sue, the Crown Prince announced that he would marry the Sue family daughter. He sent me letters, telling me to rest assured. The Emperor also privately sought me out, hoping to see Henry Shao get his wish before he abdicated. I can't even figure out Henry Zhao's personality, but he rarely likes someone, and you're probably an exception. Therefore, at the state banquet, I was going to slap Ashley Sue's face. 11 If you mistreat her, I will protect her. Henry Shao helped me untie the ropes, gently stroking the red and swollen areas. I heard him take a deep breath, his voice trembling. Emily Sue, I really want to leave no one alive. Not a single survivor. I smiled at him. Hen, tomorrow is the wedding day, isn't it? He just hugged me, giving a muffled hum. Henry Shao took back all the betrothal gifts, saying, after all, there are unclean things here, it would be hard to say what might go missing. He glanced at Ashley Sue, his voice icy. Craig, how can this imposter bully Emily Sue? Craig accepted the order. Yes, within 3 days, your subordinate will investigate everything and make it public. Ashley Sue fell to the ground in a panic, laughing madly. Who are you trying to scare? I am the Sue family daughter, the only daughter. Everyone thinks so anyway, you can't change that. She looked at David Sue, wanting a definite answer. Big brother, say something. This isn't the real prince, right? I will definitely marry into the royal family, how could Emily Sue be worthy? But David Sue didn't defend her, just shoved her away in disgust. Your mother was a cheap whore who climbed into bed, what do you have to compare with Emily Sue? Our mother was a war hero. Ethan Lin also kicked her away, his eyes red with anger. If it weren't for you, how could Emily Sue have left us? David Sue, it was all your bad idea. David Sue staggered from the blow and fought back. I just wanted Emily Sue to see her feelings for us, but she doesn't have any romantic feelings for us at all. You can't escape responsibility for this either. Ethan Lin laughed, his face full of mockery. You're really disgusting, Emily Sue is your own sister, how could you be so shameless as to test those kinds of feelings on her? Ashley Sue was stunned when she heard the two's conversation. So it turned out that she was just being used. Everything she had gained wasn't because of her charm, as her mother had taught her, but because they loved Emily Sue and wanted to use this to bring Emily Sue closer to them. Thinking this, Ashley Sue laughed madly and grabbed a hairpin, charging towards the two of them. Then no one should live. Ashley Sue was locked up as someone who had lost her mind, and David Sue and Ethan Lynn broke off their friendship from then on. The next day, Craig spread the investigated news throughout Capital City, fictional U.S. capital. The Emperor learned of the dirty things that father had done, and he was exiled to the frontier, while my mother was vindicated. David Sue couldn't accept such a blow and shaved his head to become a monk. Ethan Lynn went to the frontier, saying that there was nothing left to hold him here. Before leaving, he came to find me. "I'm sorry." But no one saw him, he just stood in front of the East Wing/the heir's residence, and then left in disappointment. After all, it was hung full of red streamers. It was the day of great joy for Henry Shaw and me. The epilogue was Henry Shaw waking up again, and I wiped the sweat from his forehead, sighing softly. "Whom did you get this temper from?" I felt sorry for Henry Shao's past experiences. He would get headaches when he was agitated, but no one understood. Probably my mother. She was imprisoned in the inner palace, and her mind was already abnormal. Henry Shao rested his chin on my shoulder, gently wrapping his arms around my waist. "Emily Sue, my mother never met the person who would take her out, but you are my light." He cupped my face and kissed me, and outside the window was the chirping of magpies. The willow tree in front of the door had sprouted new buds, and everything seemed to have changed. Occasionally, I would also think of those carefree days. Who could say for sure what was right and wrong? The mistakes that had already been made were not worth forgiving. Another year of spring. "He sent you another letter." Henry Zhao's tone was sour, and we opened Ethan Lin's well-being letters together. "This is probably his will to live." I lowered my eyes. Even without a reply. "Write him back." Henry Shao spread out the paper for me. And I was stunned, raising my eyes to look at him. "As a friend." This letter was burned as usual, but new ones were sent to the border. "I only opened a path for him because he contributed to guarding the border," Henry Shao snorted, putting his arm around my shoulders to look at the spring scenery outside.